Hello and a very warm welcome to the late-breaking F1 podcast presented by Harry Eade, Sam Sage and me, Ben Hocking. A full 3 of late-breaking today for a random non-race Sunday, which feels very late-breaking. But there's still plenty going on. I didn't expect there to be as much news as there is for today, Sam, but the F1 gods have graced us with news.
Yeah, usually you find Ben looking in the back of the Bing, down the back of the sofa. He might be under the sink sometimes just to find an F1 news story. But apparently in this first 4 months of the 2024 year that we have upon us, they're literally being thrown at his face. Have you ever seen that video of that man getting hot dogs thrown directly at his face and he can't hitting him? That's Ben with F1 news stories right now.
It's not figurative.
I've not seen that video, but I have to look it up now.
We're looking on different channels.
Evidently.
Great.
Good stuff.
Hot dog videos. We're going any further than that in terms of the intro for this show? No.
We are moving it on to the topics.
Good stuff. What a great start. We've got late faking coming up later on. We've got the 2025 calendar that's been announced very early in the 2024 season. So our thoughts on that. Andretti plowing ahead in terms of trying to get on the F1 grid, our reaction to their new HQ being opened at Silverstone. But we're going to start with the news that after consultation with the late-breaking bylaws, we have decided will be allowed. Fernando Alonso, despite making his announcement on a Thursday, which, to be clear, F1 World is not allowed. We record on a Wednesday. We have decided that it is okay and he can sign his 2-year contract extension with Aston Martin, which will keep him at the team until the end of the 2026 season, coincidentally, until he is 45 years old. So Alonso is going until he's 70 years old. There is no doubt about that. Sam, what were your thoughts on the signing of this deal, the timing of it, your reaction?
Well, you say it's okay. I don't think it is okay. I think that I might start a personal vendetta against Fernando Alonso, and he can only be okay with me and this podcast if he decides to appear as a guest and becomes a friend of the podcast.
The anti-Harry Eade, who's leader of the fan club.
I might have to go full Terminator on him and just be like, I'm coming only for you, Fernando Alonso. Beware, and then play the Terminator music.
If we're going to be annoyed at people that announce things on Thursdays, then that's half of the F1 paddock, right?
Hey, the same requirements apply. You can all appear on the show, and it will be okay.
So listen up, James Allison, Mercedes, Charles Leclerc, Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, Ferrari, Silverstone, Fernando Alonso, and Aston Martin. Please come on the show.
Got a full track on there.
There might be a lot of guests.
They announced their 10-year extension. They're on the list.
Otherwise, I will be grumpy with you forever. What's my reaction? I don't know. It feels like the sensible move, which is not very Fernando Alonso, I think. The man comes out and says this is his longest contract of his career, which is also baffling because he has been with so many teams for so many years. And you think, have you never signed a deal more than, 2 years at a time? Really?
I think he's signed for other things after 2 years.
That makes sense.
Implication. That's what I got from it. But
well, the words he said, well, this is the longest deal he's signed, so I'm going to take it at face value.
Only signing it a month at a time.
I'll have January next.
He's a race-by-race contractor.
I mean, I respect it because he backs himself, right? How many times have we said to drivers that you sign too long a deals and you don't give yourself the options to go out and explore something? Fernando Alonso's there like, give me another year and I'll decide.
Yeah.
I'm the captain now. Look into my eyes. I am the captain now. Fernando Alonso his entire life from birth, I imagine.
Said it to his mum.
Yeah, to his mum comes out. I am the captain now. Look into my eyes. Maybe Fernando. I'm in charge here. Anyway, yes, I think fair play to him. He's backed himself, and I think he's chosen the most sensible option. I think Red Bull was possibly on the cards, and that was more of a two-way conversation. I do think that Red Bull made the sensible choice of not having two absolute domineering forces in their team of both Max Verstappen and Fernando Alonso. We saw the last time that Fernando Alonso went up against a kind of a racing powerhouse. I think fairly to say would be Lewis Hamilton back in their McLaren original days when they kind of fought against each other. And we see how that's turned out. Those two decide to have almost EastEnders level drama with every single night there being a new show on your screens. I don't think Red Bull want to go down that route again with all the political mess that they found themselves in, all the cultural problems they found themselves internally. But with Alonso signing for Aston Martin, the other option there, of course, was Mercedes that we've all been talking about. And quite rightly so. it's not a step forward right now. If anything, it's a bit of a step backwards. The team seems to be in a bit of disarray. Culturally, they don't really know where they're going. Lewis Hamilton's already decided to leave, which tells you a lot about the direction of the team. George Russell is their main man at the moment, but Toto Wolff is in the public declaring, he wants everyone to join for the team left, right, and centre to sit alongside George, and maybe that might ruffle some feathers. This seems sensible. He's in charge. The direction is behind him. He's very comfortable there. The car has been moving forward generally quite well. So, yeah, I wasn't shocked that he's re-signed for Aston Martin. I was a little bit shocked at just how early in the year the deal has been done and dusted.
Harry, what was your immediate response to this?
Makes sense, right? And as you say, Sam, what seems like a sensible career move for Alonso. Unusual, I guess, in that sense. But his options were... I don't think Red Bull was ever really an option, unless Verstappen was definitely going, but he'd just be banking on that. I don't think Alonso was ever going to go to Red Bull. I don't know whether they'd, and as you say, Sam, whether they'd even want him. So I don't think Red Bull was a viable option. The other option was Mercedes, and what does Alonso gain by going to Mercedes? Because performance-wise, I know this is speaking right now. Performance-wise, they're the same as Aston Martin. In fact, Alonso, last race beat them both. And as you say, they're not in disarray, but it's a bit... they're a bit lost, aren't they, Mercedes at the moment? And I think why would Alonso move to a team? Why would he move to another team again? Is my point, because he's now settled into Aston Martin. He can build that around himself. I know there's obviously Lance, but Alonso's got a lot of pulling power in that team now, and it's a project which has big ambitions. I know there are other issues around whether they can achieve that, but with Honda coming on board in 26, there's a lot of work still going on at their factory, and Alonso is embedded within that team. So, given that the other option was go to a similar performance, a similar team in terms of performance right now, starting afresh again, it's like, why bother? Why bother? So I think this is the sensible move, and probably his really, not that he was backed into a corner, but really his only move, or the only correct move. So in that sense, it kind of makes sense why he's done this early. Let's just get on with it, and we'll concentrate on the rest of it now.
I think it's a worse indictment of Mercedes than what both of you've said here. In that, I appreciate right now, Mercedes and Aston Martin are very similar, and you ask the question, why would he want to go to a similarly paced team? But he's not making a decision based on where they're at now. He's making a decision based on where he thinks they're going to be next year and the year after, which I think is way worse for Mercedes, because let's face it, Mercedes are fully aware of where they are right now. I'm sure Mercedes don't believe in themselves right now, but I think they do believe in where the vision, I believe that they believe in the vision, they believe in their future. And this is, unless Mercedes have turned him down, this is Alonso saying, no, I don't believe in that. I think that's way worse than actually not believing in where they are right now. From my perspective, I was surprised just based on the timing of it, not the decision itself. I just figured he wouldn't be I guess after Lewis Hamilton, the first one to jump at an opportunity to stay or go. I figured he would wait it out a little bit. I thought Fernando Alonso's negotiating power, like his bargaining power, I thought was quite high versus the rest of the grid. We remember comments he made not that long ago where he was like, yeah, well, Verstappen, he's a world champion, he's signed up. Hamilton, he's a world champion, he's signed up. That only leaves one on the grid, and that's me. Which I thought he might use a little bit more for the next couple of months, but I respect getting it done early. I would be shocked if he didn't properly explore the options of both Red Bull and Mercedes. I think, like you've both said, with Red Bull, it's probably come down to a case of it was off the cards, it was never going to happen. I have seen some people suggest that he's running away from a Verstappen fight. I don't buy that for a second. Have you met Fernando Alonso?
Man has fought with all of the greats of the last 25 years and stood to tell a tale. I'm sure Verstappen is nothing new for him.
Speaking of, We're going to be reviewing one of his great battles on our Patreon very
Oh,
soon.
Harry, that's filthy.
Boom!
He's just flown back. He's got the adapter from abroad, and he's got to take that off him in the UK now. Got to plug that straight into the socket. What a plug that was, sir.
Goodness me. Yeah.
2005 San Marino Grand Prix historic review coming up on our Patreon very shortly. We're recording it straight after this. Great work, Harry.
Thank you. I'll go now.
That's all right. Yes, that's your 10 minutes done. Cheers. Yeah, and I think with Mercedes, it was either, again, he's decided that the future of Mercedes isn't as promising as the future of Aston Martin, in which case that's not a great look for Mercedes. Or maybe it was off the cards as well. Maybe Harry's 1 for 1 so far on these predictions. Maybe he's 2 for 2 and actually Antonelli is going to be the primary option, and it's Mercedes have gone, no, we don't want you, Fernando, which would seem crazy, but who knows?
I'm not sure what universe I rolled out of bed into where Harry is the one that's going to be regularly correct for things, but I'd like to get back into bed and go the other way, please.
Roll the other way out of bed, please.
Yeah, oh, thank God for that. That's how I imagine universes are created. It says a lot, doesn't it, that if we're going down the route that we're currently aware of, that Alonso has maybe not snuffed Mercedes, but deciding against it, then that's Alonso and Lewis Hamilton in the space of 6 months have gone, no, this is not going in a very good direction, and I do not see a direction into victory with this team. Get me out of here, or I'm not even walking through the door. It's quite damning. That really is, considering that you were the team that every single driver in the world wanted to drive for, and now no one wants to stick around with you. That's gone the wrong way.
Opens the door for Esteban Gutierrez, so I'm all right with it.
Esty Guts is back.
Yep, him and D'Ambrosio going to be rocking the Mercedes lineup next year. One thing I did want to ask you on, Sam, is the fact that Aston Martin have given out a multi-year deal in this. We know that it will take him through to the end of 2026, and we know that that's one of the leading reasons that he left Alpine for Aston Martin in the first place, was that Alpine weren't prepared to give him a multi-year deal. Damn fools. And Aston Martin were. Do you think that a similar thing has happened here, in that this takes Alonso through to he gets at least 1 year at the new regulations? Do you think that's a factor?
Yeah, I imagine that if, again, hypothetically, if he has had conversations with Mercedes, I wouldn't be shocked if they've gone, you sign on for a year and we see how it goes, and then we might give you an extension if we're happy with the results and how the team works. And he's displayed very much in the later years of his career that he does seem to want more consistency and more of a team built around him long term, which is no bad thing to have in Formula One. Aston Martin clearly have said, we have the faith in you, you've earned a multi-year deal, we believe the project's going in the right direction. At least 2 years coming your way. There might be even options to push on further than that. We don't know, of course, the details of the contract, but it shows that one team is willing to put their faith and time and energy into Fernando Alonso, which I think he takes very complimentary. I think he is very much a respect give and respect take kind of person. And so if you say to Alonso, we have faith in you, you're where we're going with our journey, he's at least a couple of years, if not longer, he's going to go, all right, I can see us building here and I trust myself. So if I'm at the helm, if I'm the captain now, then we're going in the right direction and we can create some kind of success here. But I wouldn't be surprised with Antonelli in the background, with the unknown that could be Fernando Alonso and a new team, if Mercedes, if the offer was ever there, turned around and went 1 year from now, and we discuss it again next year with how we go.
How are your thoughts on it being a multi-year deal? Would other teams maybe have not been willing to offer him that?
Yeah, I think Alpine is stupid for not doing that in the first place, but they're stupid for a lot of things.
Ironically, the best gift ever given to Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, well, imagine, maybe that's why he's just like, I'm happy. Don't worry about me. I'll go anywhere, just not Alpine.
I'm sorry, we're not talking Alpine here, but did you see how Ocon and Gasly, they said that basically they'd started contract negotiations with both of them, but they're also aware of, I can't remember what they said exactly, but it was like, we're aware of the market right now, which is basically another way of saying, we'd really like to sign them, but we really appreciate we're awful. So we'll try and make it happen.
We get it that we're crap. If you want to come back, thank you.
Please come back.
Please.
So I don't think it is a surprise because he's Fernando Alonso. I don't know that there's the age thing, but as he's proved already, it doesn't matter. He doesn't age, apparently. And why would you not? There are other options for Aston Martin would be Carlos Sainz, But are you going to dump Fernando Alonso for Carlos Sainz? Nope.
I've got another option, but I'll keep it to myself.
Okay. We'll let you come up.
Dump the other driver.
Oh,
Here we go
no.
again.
Because another banger of a rail on its way. No.
Not again.
Yeah, but that's my point, really. They're not going to dump Lance Stroll, are they? So you sign up Fernando Alonso for a multi-year deal because you're not going to have a signed Alonso partnership, as good as it would be. It's just not going to happen. So yeah, sign the two-time world champ up. He's performing well still, despite his age. Why would you not want him in your car for a couple more years? So I don't think it's a surprise. Like he said, I guess that's part of his negotiating power, as you mentioned earlier, Ben. He is the only other world champion. He was the only other champion on the grid that hadn't been signed up. So he's probably was able to push it to a multi-year, whereas where other drivers maybe couldn't if they were that age. So yeah, not too much of a surprise from Aston Martin. I think it's a sensible. He's motivated to still be there. Why would you not lock him in for a couple of years?
It's a strong indictment of Aston Martin as well, in that this contract is massive for Alonso, in that even I know we joke about him racing until he's 70. This will take him through until he's 45. That will make him the oldest driver in the sport since Graham Hill in the mid-1970s. So this is a massive multi-year extension, because if this doesn't work, it's not like Alonso's... I don't know when he'll hang up his boots. I don't know if it will be at the end of this contract, whether it will be he'll have one more year after this. Who knows? But if this doesn't work, it's not like there's another decade yet to come in terms of opportunity. So I think it's a strong indictment of Aston Martin to say, I believe that we can give at least 2026 a really good go. And maybe that was part of the pitch. Maybe that was part of the pitch to say that, look, Red Bull, we aren't catching them this year as with everyone else. And we aren't probably going to catch them next year either. But we are putting our full focus on 2026. We're going to give you a year to go all out and try and win another Drivers' Championship. And maybe that was a strong reason why he decided to resign.
More and more, I'm starting to believe the conspiracy theory that in that Australia crash where he flipped his McLaren, he actually de-aged 10 years and became like in his mid-30s.
Possible.
Honestly, he had that concussion, didn't he? And doctors said that he thinks he's like 32, not 42. And I'm now starting to believe it a little bit.
I think you believe that without a concussion.
Yeah.
I believe a lot of things without a concussion. So, yes.
Goodness me.
Lastly, any concerns about obviously the reuniting with Honda, Harry?
Oh dear. No, I don't think there's any concerns. Because both parties have come a long way since the days of 2015 and 2016 and 2017. Alonso's matured. I'm sure he would still be annoyed if the engine they plugged in was terrible. I'm not saying
it's
he would.
It's okay, guys. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
It's fine.
We can all laugh.
But I don't think... yeah, we'll all laugh about this one day, guys. As he's slating their engines on the team radio at Suzuka. No, yeah, look, I don't think there'll be any issues here. If as long as the engine is competitive and the Honda engine is now a competitive engine, then there's nothing. Alonso will be happy, obviously, and I don't think the Honda people will care too much. I saw a photo of Alonso and the Honda. Someone from I can't remember their name, apologies, but there's a picture of them walking into the paddock in Suzuka, but they were like laughing and joking and reminiscing on the good old days.
GP2.
Yeah. So I think it'll be fine.
He just wants success, and it all comes from a place of being competitive. And
Exactly.
I think Honda understand that. Yeah, it was not great for them, but equally, produce an engine that's quick enough and you start winning. What more do you want to say about the matter?
And I think that we've spoken about it before, but Honda having this base in the UK now as well will help that relationship. So,
and the Red Bull success that came with it as well.
Yeah, that's my point. Like, it's not. Yeah. We're in a very different. Honda are in a very different place now. They've won championships technically.
They powered championships.
Yeah, powered champions.
We're gonna say they've won championships.
They've won championships. So, yeah, there's a very different place as to where they were in 2015.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 9 years ago, like you say, a lot of wins since then. And I mean, bear in mind as well, like it was 2015 Japanese Grand Prix that he made the infamous GP2 remark. He did race with a Honda engine as part of the Indy 500 in 2017. So it's not like, yes, this always needed a little bit of time to cool down, but he was back racing in a Honda engine in 2017 in that. And I just don't think.
Did that breakdown?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe. But...
Yeah, he could have won it. He could have won it as well.
I just think it's been long enough now that it's all fine.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So Andretti have opened up their Silverstone HQ as they continue to try and join the F1 grid for 2026. They currently have 80 staff out of their Silverstone HQ, but there are plans to expand this very, very quickly. And talks of there being a key meeting coming up between the FIA and Andretti. Sam, your thoughts on Andretti just motoring ahead, to be honest, even though they don't have this approval?
I love it. I love that they're just like, you can keep saying no all you want. We're still here. Hello. The words won't add value to Formula One come to mind here in pure irony and sarcasm. The fact that this global giant is building this incredible facility, employing brilliant minds, and is already committed to so much to the racing that they've got more infrastructure than the likes of Honda had up until recently in this country. Tell you everything you need to know. Andretti are some of the most perfect partners you can have for Formula One. They're a bit outlandish. They are marketing giants. They are racing purists, and they want to be at the very top in everything they do. And this is another step in that direction. Building a huge facility like this right next to what is considered, in quotation marks, the home of Formula One. You know, what more do you need in terms of commitment and dedication to the sport? On top of that, Andretti have already got rumours coming out that they're already planning to enter both Formula 3 and Formula 2 in plans to build a driver ladder of young drivers, especially Americans, to put them in their Formula 1 cars. Now, how many Formula 1 teams have got actual dedicated teams in Formula 3 and Formula 2? None is the answer. Correct. None of them own completely their own teams in Formula 3 and Formula 2 to make sure they've got a dedicated, almost conveyor belts of drivers to put in Formula 1 cars to create this academy, this brilliant roster of driver lineups to produce potential race winners and in turn world champions. But Andretti are already doing it one step extra. They're already going, we're building in the junior categories to make sure that we're even better in the primary formula. I don't know what more I can shout and scream about Formula One and Andretti, and how wrong Formula One are and how right Andretti are the way they've gone about this. Every hurdle has been considered. They paid for the fee. They brought in a manufacturer with them. And now there's rumours that in the Concord Agreement, Formula One want to make it a 10-team maximum only. It is audacious and disgusting and wrong. The anti-competition movement that Formula One are creating and Andretti deserve to be on that grid. I don't know what more they could do or what more they need to do. They can't change who they are. They're doing enough. And this agenda that F1 have against them is absolutely atrocious. It's not okay. So hats off to them. I love that one day they're just going to turn up with two cars on the back of the grid and go, oh yeah, we're racing now. And you're just going to deal with it because that's the way it's going. And I would love to see it.
Harry, what were your thoughts on this?
I mean, firstly, the anti-competition movement it's another great name for a band.
So it's maybe like our first album, anti-competition movement.
Yeah. Sam, I'm just enjoying the stick your fingers in your ears and go la 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 la, can't hear you approach to this from Andretti. But why not? I think they must be very confident that this can get overturned. Whether that's done by legal proceedings, I don't know. But the confidence in the fact that they're pressing ahead with this, and as you say, going in with the F2 and F3 teams. I respect it. I respect the hustle. I like you say, Sam, it's just proving once again how wrong F1 were with that statement in terms of won't add any value to the sport. Because, in a way they kind of already are. But the setup at Silverstone, they're going to have F2 and F3 teams. How wrong can you be? So, yeah, like I say, I really enjoy this approach to it. And they must be very, very confident that they are going to make it into F1. that statement from F1 was never going to be the end of it. So I respect Andretti for carrying on as they are. I just hope it doesn't, burn them at all. And if they are in F2 and F3, then I guess it won't, because that at least will be a part of it. But I would hate for it to just fall. Well, I'd hate for it to fall flat anyway, because there should be another team. They should be in F1, but I'd hope for their sake all this investment isn't wasted. But hopefully they know something we don't, and they're confident that it's all going to be worth it.
I have to say that F1 is looking out for its brand and the value of the series, and I can completely understand it, because if Andretti were to join, there is serious risk that there will be damage done to the likes of Williams by showing them up, by getting two cars out on a track and, embarrassing Sauber, who can't do a pit stop in less than 40 seconds. So yeah, I can understand not wanting Andretti in the series, because they might be competent, and that can't be said for all the teams right now. This is absolutely the classic approach of just do the job you want until you get paid for it. It's just, I'm going to be here doing my thing, getting ready for F1. Don't really care what you say in terms of letting me in or not. As you say, Sam, just turn up to Australia one year with your two cars. They've already got the car. They've already got the wind tunnel. It's all there. Just turn up, see what happens. I don't know. I hope it doesn't get to that point, but I love this. And, as awful as that statement was by F1 when they basically said, no, you can't come in, Andretti, there was a silver lining in that statement, which is that F1 have now very officially, on paper, said, this is where we're at. They've put their stake in the ground, right? They've said, you can't come in. These are all the reasons why. The silver lining to that is now Andretti can essentially, and are doing, just working on those things and being like, okay, you're saying we're not ready based on this. We're just going to prove you even more wrong than you were in the first place. Everything before that was just based on rumor and conjecture, right? But as soon as F1 made it official, their decision to reject the application, it's now at a point where I know they've already faced a lot of backlash, but F1 is going to really struggle to not let Andretti in if they are doing everything they're doing and then still turn around and go, yeah, you might have answered all of our concerns, but it's still no. I don't think that's a tenable position. That they would really struggle to make that happen, I think.
It's like when you're trying to make plans with friends, isn't it? And, you really can't, you're not in the mood. You're not in the mood on a Sunday. You think, I just want to stay at home, put my jogging bottoms on, and they're like, oh, do you want to come out for lunch? You're like, oh, I can't. I've got to wait for a delivery to come through. And they're like, oh, no post on Sundays. And you're like, yeah, also, my mum might come round. She lives 3 or 4 hours away, though. The cat. No one's here to feed the cat. She doesn't get fed till 5 o'clock. And you're like, stop coming up with solutions to my medial crap problems and just let me not come outside. That is what F1 is doing. And Andretti are like, sorry, not buying it. I've got a solution for every crap excuse in the book that you've got. And the cat's getting fed at 5 o'clock. So I don't know what more they can do.
I didn't follow a word of that, but sure.
How is it hard to follow?
I love the honesty.
Michael Andretti's cat's being fed at 5 o'clock. That's what I got. Right.
He's a feline lover.
Michael Andretti, feline lover.
Certified. Oh. We're going to look really stupid when we're pushing for Andretti to get into F1 and he turns up with 2 cats for his first 2 drivers.
Oh, goodness me.
Oh,
goodness me.
Anyway, the whole system's rigged. My concern here, more than anything, is almost not if Andretti don't get in. It's almost if they do. Because if they do a U-turn, right, and they reverse their decision and they say, right, we'll let Andretti in, whether that's 2026, 2028, whatever, F1 can then basically say, and I kind of understand what they're doing here, F1 can basically say, right, that's the level of dedication you need to get into this sport, which I think is completely unreasonable. Andretti have, fair play to them, gone above and beyond what they've needed to do. But that might become the new benchmark. That might be if you aren't doing that, you aren't invested. When it's clear that without spending millions upon millions of pounds to set up infrastructure for something that's not a guarantee, that, that's my concern, is that it shouldn't stop at Andretti. If there are other entries that are good enough to enter the sport, then that should happen as well. But not every team is going to be willing to do what Andretti have done here.
Should we, two parts to this. One, is it a little bit reckless of Andretti to be employing so many people when there's no guarantee of a future that they'll have jobs, right? Like there's
their money, I guess.
It is their money, but how long does that last? And how long are they willing to invest it in if they never actually get through the Formula One shaped door? It's a little bit worrying. It's a slight because they deserve to be on the sport. So realistically, that shouldn't be an issue. Secondly, should we go and have some kind of pre-season qualifier? And you should turn up with your car. And if you're in the top 12 fastest teams, you get on the grid for that season. Should that, I feel like that's a much more fun way to decide who races.
Just do pre-qualifying every weekend like they used to.
There we go.
Yeah.
Pre-qualifying.
That Barry McCarthy well will own it. Yeah.
I reckon we should run a car.
Is it? I know it weeded out the garbage ones. But I love the idea. It's a savage idea that you turn up to a race weekend, not get through pre-qualifying, and then go home again. You've done your stuff. Go home. It's Friday.
I'll hand you a scrub brush, and it will be written on it in felt tip. Get good.
Get good. Yeah, scrub yourself.
Of all the rubbish.
Do you think anything will come from this key meeting, as Andretti calls it, Harry?
I don't really know what because it's with the FIA. What the FIA are on side. So what's the key meeting about? They're all going to walk into a room and go, "Yeah, we're still
aligned with this.
Yeah, we're still aligned.
Great job. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go get a pint." Yeah, I don't really know what else there is. The meeting they need to have is with F1 again, but they're not having that. So I'm not really sure what else is going to come from that, to be honest.
Yeah. Are we a route of civil war here between F1 and FIA? I think FIA are nervous to back this with the chance that, it might cause a lot of friction and F1 might try and go independent.
I don't know. I think we're already there, to be honest.
Well, it's the match, isn't it, that sparks it all?
Yeah, it's there's been so much tension between the two organizations for so long that I think I don't know, my thought right now is that we end up at a compromise, which is that F1 don't let Andretti in for 2028. For 2026, but they do for 2028 because we know that Cadillac isn't coming in 2026. Like that's dead certainty, but they have said they will come in 2028. So I think maybe that's the compromise we get to. My other concern, Sam, to what you said, which is that currently in the Concord agreement, they'd like there to be a 10 max team. Maybe as part of that, they say there's an 11 max. But
I think that genuinely is anti-competition. I think that's atrocious.
I just think that might be where we get to.
Good. Let us know your thoughts. Discord is available in the link below. Come and tell us while we're on.
Okay, everyone, welcome back. We are now discussing the 2025 calendar. Now, when you saw this announced, you might have had a quick look at it and thought, hang on a minute, they just posted the 2024 one again. There are the same number of races. We are going to the same tracks, but there are a couple of key differences versus 2024. Firstly, perhaps most importantly, Australia is returning as the season opener. So that will be on the 16th of March, 2025. First time since 2019 that will be the first race of the season. And it will be a back-to-back with the Chinese Grand Prix that will feature as race 2, a little bit of a shift. That will then give way to a triple header between Japan, Bahrain and Saudi Arabia. The season then ends with another triple header, which is Las Vegas, Qatar and Abu Dhabi, the same as what will be the case later this year, with the season ending on the 7th of December. Sam, what were your thoughts?
Australia being number one, my equilibrium has finally been restored. I feel like I could go back to normality in my life and I no longer feel like I've been thrown off, because when it wasn't Australia first anymore, that felt weird to me. I'll tell you why. It's because growing up as a kid, playing every single F1 game that ever came out, I must have driven around Albert Park more times than I've driven around my own town. Honestly, every single time. When I was young enough, I'd only get about 3 or 4 races into the season, and I go, these tracks are too hard. I'm going to go back to Albert Park again now because I can do that.
Albert Park Merchant.
Albert Park Merchant, 101.
What is this, Monaco? Go back to Albert Park.
Too many walls here. Get me back to the Aussies. Yeah, anyway, it just feels right. I don't know. I mean, Albert Park is doing improving. We've been having better Grand Prix around there with the changes that they've made. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at it. And I like that it's a bit of a back-to-back with China, although don't want to moan, but going to be real sleepy boys at the start of the 2025 season. Because
you want to clarify you're not moaning about that.
But to clarify, I'm not moaning. I actually really love being tired for the rest of the day, and I'm grateful that they've done this for us. So thank you, F1. They've released it very early, haven't they? And it's a lot very early and a lot of back-to-backs. And they've tried to really localize it in terms of its geolocations across the globe. They've tried to keep it in terms of kind of Oceania, Asia, and then we're moving into the Middle East now that gets its own little run. But they've still managed to keep Miami in the middle of the first section, and then they put Canada again in the middle of Europe. Now, I think this is because climate-wise, they are so difficult to racing that if you were to take Canada out of June, it's either going to snow or the track will just become an ice rink. And Miami is the opposite, that if you don't race it early enough on, the track is made of lava and we're playing a whole different game, I think, at that point. So that's why I think, but it's still annoying, still frustrating. But 24 races is the big one. They've stuck to 24 races, which I'm surprised at because we haven't even done a full year of 24 and got feedback from it. We haven't learned from teams what the troubles might have been. We haven't learned from team members if they're struggling. I am surprised they've jumped straight in so early with another full-length calendar. And that winter break is so short now. The fact that we don't finish until pretty much mid-December and, then you've only got January and February and we're back in it again. It's a short turnaround for a full season. If you work in F1 now, no free time for you, sir, or madame. You get nothing.
What were your thoughts, Harry?
Yeah, I was similar. I'm with Sam in the traditionalist in terms of I like Australia being first.
No reason to it. Just like
no logic at all. And you're right. We've had some better races there over the past couple of years with the changes to the track. So I'm less mad about this than I probably would have been. But I guess the only thing about Australia is I know why they've done it, right? Because they want Bahrain and Saudi to avoid the Ramadan. Yeah. And obviously, that's why we had the races on Saturday this year. I'm assuming F1 is less ideal for F1. So that's why it's been sort of swapped around. But I guess for the downside is that Australia is, as we like to mention, it's quite early. It's quite an early watch, and that's your opening race of the season. Whereas before it would be Bahrain, it was slightly more suitable times for, I guess, European audiences. But for the audiences that majority watch, Bahrain was a better option. So yeah, in that sense, I guess it's a slight downside. But I'm not against Australia being first. In terms of the rest of the calendar, I think they're at a point now where they're doing almost as much as they can in terms of where things are placed. Like everything's grouped together, as you say, pretty well. Canada, Miami are the ones that stick out like sore thumbs. But as you say, Canada can't be earlier or later. It can't go where like USA and Mexico and Brazil and Las Vegas are that end of the year because too cold, I think. And the same for Miami in the opposite direction, like you mentioned. So in terms of how they're placing it, it's pretty good. I'm glad we haven't gone more than 24. You're right, we've not tested out how 24 will go, but I don't see F1 backing out of 24 now, are they? They're not going to go backwards, so nah.
One race for every year. They're going to do a surprise one for F1 25.
Yeah.
Wasn't Germany? A lot of people were pretty kicking off that Germany wasn't appearing on that calendar. They thought it was going to happen.
I mean, it should.
Not really.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of comments in response to the calendar being launched on a lot of different social media channels, from the teams, from the official one. No, where's Germany? I think Germany. Is Germany going to arrive? No. When are we swapping in Germany? A lot of people were expecting a German Grand Prix.
I mean, I loved it, but I just didn't even know that was a possibility.
It's not on the cards, was it? I'd love to.
Back Hockenheim.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, I think they're doing a relatively good job now. It is, as you say, quite a lot of races for people to go to that work in F1. I mean, we're seeing the effects already, even in terms of the TV output this year. So for people in the UK who watch it on Sky, the 3 flyaways we've had so far, they've not flown a presenting team out there. Same for Channel 4, I think, as well. So it's even getting to that point where you'd have teams that would go to all the races aren't even doing that now in terms of those who are working in F1. So that's probably just going to be the way it's going to go. And, that's okay. But and it's those companies looking out for their employees. So it makes sense. But yeah, not much more to add. It's just fine. It's kind of this year's calendar just a bit muddled up a bit. That's okay.
I'm disappointed.
Oh, God.
Here we go. I'm looking forward to this.
Firstly, I promise you folks of Australia, New Zealand, and otherwise in that area of the globe, I promise I'm not saying this for selfish reasons. I don't understand, similar to what Harry was saying, I don't understand why the season starts the way it does in terms of the key markets right now. Because the US is they're still trying to grow it. It's starting to get a bit stagnant, I'd say, but there's still an intention to grow the sport in the US. And of course, Europe is massive for F1. And we're starting with multiple races where it's just, it doesn't align with that. Like we're happy enough. I'm happy enough to wake up early and watch these races because I love this sport. And in many respects, I actually prefer morning races than I do afternoon and evening races. But I'm not everyone. A lot of people aren't. And in a time where we are trying to get as much interest in the US, or at least the F1 is trying to get as much interest in the US, I don't really see the value in starting off these races where it will be something like 1 a.m. in the morning for East Coast start times, or 11 p.m. or so Central and going to Pacific. Like it doesn't make sense to me. The traditionalist in me, as you both said, absolutely loves Australia being the first race of the season. And again, from a pure personal fan point of view, I'm absolutely fine with it and I'm quite happy about it. But I just don't think it makes a great deal of business sense. In terms of the rest, I was disappointed because I felt like it's the equivalent of a situation where you say, okay, we've got the house. We're going to completely redo the house, one room at a time every single month. And then you do the first room, you do the bedroom in the first month, and then you go, great, house is finished. It's like, no, you still had to do some more. Because all of the moves that they made were for this year, really, and they've kind of just carried that through. I was quite positive about this year's calendar based on it being a step towards regionalising the calendar. I just don't think they've done anything on top of that. I appreciate the reasons for Miami and Canada. I still think it's stupid. I still think it's stupid that we have two flyaway races in the middle of, or the start of the European season. If there's not a way to make those two races go together, look elsewhere, quite honestly. There's got to be a way. We've got a full year to work with to make this more efficient than what it currently is. Miami, hasn't been great. Canada is often great, but gotta make that work. And then in terms of the triple header to end the year, Las Vegas to Qatar is still brutal. I appreciate technically there is an extra day because Las Vegas is on the Saturday night. But that is still a very brutal triple header to finish off the season. And there were a few things in the middle of the season as well that was a bit weird. So we have, I think, 4 weeks as usual for the summer break, but actually there's 3 weeks between the British Grand Prix and whatever comes after that. It's a bit of a weird one. We've got like a double header, then 3 weeks break, and then we've got a couple of other races and then a 4-week break, which I thought was a bit odd. I just would have liked to have seen another step forward. And also I do like variety, so it would have been nice. I know that it wasn't ever really on the cards, but I'd like to see something else.
I bet those breaks have come around because of the Olympics and the Euros.
Good shout.
But
forgot that was a thing.
They're not our sports. But equally, I do understand your points. The frustrating thing about Canada, I guess, is Canada is one of my favourite tracks. I love it. It doesn't always produce the best banger race, but I really, really enjoy Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. Is there no way that we can put in under track heating just to make it not icy? That exists for football pitches. It must surely exist for tarmac.
I've got the solution.
Yes, Ben.
Double header with Watkins Glen. Goodbye, Miami.
Way done.
Okay. We are making solutions here on the podcast today, folks.
There we are. That's how it works, right? With the calendar, you just say things and then they happen. There's no negotiations that need to take place.
Isn't that how life works, though?
Yeah.
You can say some stuff and a lot of other people go, yeah, okay, that sounds all right. And then it happens.
Also, just got to get this in because we have to do it every single time we talk about the calendar. Abu Dhabi is the finale. No, thank you.
Oh,
Brazil's getting further and further back from the finale. Stop it.
It's going to be the summer break soon.
God damn it. Okay. Anything else on calendar talk?
Calendar talk.
We're going to turn left into Canada Tour. No, I think we're good.
Good. So moving on. Carlos Sainz has made some comments about Red Bull's advantage, which is considerable, as it has been for a while now. But he's saying that maybe that might get wiped away by some Ferrari upgrades that are coming. We understand that Ferrari might be bringing significant upgrades to Imola. Imola's a good track. I'm sure it delivered a banger there in 2005. I wonder if that's on. Oh, yeah, that's coming on our Patreon.
Goodness me.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Any thoughts on these comments, Sam?
Firstly, do subscribe to the Patreon. We are going to do a historic watch along, and the content is really bloody good. And you can always delete your subscription, and you can get your money for the future months back. Promise you, it's worth trying it out, and it helps us massively.
To clarify, it's a review, not a watch along.
That's so true. Thank God Harry Eads here.
Don't be selling false hope.
We would be nothing without him turning up. So I'm so glad. This is bold from Carlos Sainz. I don't know if Carlos Sainz is just in a whimsical mood because he's got absolutely he's like, I don't care, I'm not here anyway next year. So yeah, we're gonna be amazing. He's got out the scrub daddy brush and he's gone, there's our upgrades. Wipe the advantage away delightfully. Thank you. Put a bit of Daz down on the old side of the worktop and it's
Daz.
Silic bang and the dirt is gone.
Barry Scott, hello.
Carlos Sainz is Barry Scott. Yeah, I mean, this is bold because that advantage is sizable. Now, I know that, again, I think a few people are basing an advantage on the outlier that happened in Australia. And again, I'm going to hark back to the brake failure. Sergio Perez is not Max Verstappen. The car was not running at 100%. Whilst I do think that Ferrari were closer, I do not think they were going to be beating them comfortably. This is a big claim to make that one set of upgrades is going to destroy any advantage that Red Bull has, and it's going to be a close field for the rest of the season. Now, I am all for it. I absolutely love the idea that Ferrari and Red Bull are going to be duking it out race after race after race for the rest of the season, and we don't know who's going to be winning Grand Prix. I am here for it. I love the idea. But Carlos, sir, just maybe think about letting the on-track upgrades do the talking before you believe in what Ferrari are bringing, because they ain't been successful for some time now when it comes to actually developing a very, very quick car. Let's let it do the magic first, and then you go, yeah, we always knew it was going to be good, and you look really cool and smug. But you've really set yourself up for failure here if it doesn't work. And equally, us little optimists who are watching along in our little armchairs at home, oh, can we see cars go fast? Oh, can't wait to see Ferrari beat Red Bull now. It's not going to happen, is it? And we're going to all be really, really disappointed. I've not done that voice for a while. It feels good to get back on the show.
Underrated part of that voice is the elbows at the same time.
The little jig.
Yeah. I love it.
You can watch it on YouTube, folks.
That's not a reason to subscribe on YouTube. I don't know what it is.
Yes, it is. I'll do the elbows just for you. Anyway, Sainz, please don't disappoint me now. I really hope that we're going to see like a 0.05 qualifying difference between the two, and it's going to be a real battle.
Harry, how excited are you for Carlos Sainz championship win this season, since you are now the new head of his fan club as well?
Yeah, I've expanded my horizons. I've got two
Spanish
fan clubs.
men.
The Spanish men fan club.
I love Jaime Alguersuari.
Yeah, he can come in. Go on. Yeah, I'm a fan of his optimism. You, all right, Carlos. As Sam says, I'd be skeptical because
I'd be cautious.
Red Bull been good. But if I'm all for it, if they can give Red Bull even if they're not beating them, giving Red Bull a headache at least, just a little dull headache. A little bit of a head scratcher. Give them something to think about.
Oh yes, good line.
That's an old one. Even if they are doing that, because at the moment Red Bull can just run their own race. They're never in danger of anything because they've always got a gap to the rest of the field. So if Ferrari can at least slot themselves into that gap where, you know, Verstappen can't make a pit stop and come out in the lead because there's a Ferrari there, there's two Ferraris there, then I'll bring it on. I'm not asking for much. But yeah, it's a highly optimistic strategy from Carlos Sainz. Maybe he's just, you know, he's so free now. He doesn't have an appendix. He's just like, I'm living my best life. I feel
that space with negative thoughts, and all the good ones live in my brain.
I store my negative thoughts where my appendix was.
Yeah, that's why it exploded.
Science.
Yeah, but anyway, it remains to be seen. I would love for it to be true. But yeah, he has set himself up a little bit if they don't work, because just wait to see how they do first, maybe Carlos, and then come back to it. But I respect the hustle, and I'd rather that than the Toto Wolff approach of our car's going to be garbage this weekend. Well, I know he doesn't do that anymore, but when they were doing well, I don't like it when teams are overly negative about their performance.
Because it's factually true when he says it now.
Yeah, so he doesn't say
it. Was a prophecy. It wasn't talking about the current weekend.
Yeah.
We're going to be really slow this weekend.
He's living 8 years in advance. Toto Wolff.
So yeah, but I'd rather that. So I kind of respect it in that sense. I'd rather they be optimistic, but be cautious, Carlos. Carlos.
I was surprised by his optimism, to be honest. I would love it to be true. Not because, similar to you, I am unbiased when it comes to who wins. I don't mind who wins, but I do like competition. I like this sport and I like close racing, and that's not something we're getting at the moment. So I would very much appreciate it if Ferrari, or indeed any other team, if you want to come along for the party as well, just give, as you say, Harry, very accurately, give Red Bull something to think about.
Just have a little ibuprofen at the end of the race, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Just something that, hang on, that's a little bit of a headache.
Just have some water, because that's a bit tight.
A bit dehydrated.
Yeah, the temples are a bit sore.
I've had to use my brain a little bit, yeah. That would be good. And it's not something we've got at the moment. I mean, Japan was utterly dominant. Like, utterly dominant. I think with Bahrain, even with Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, whilst they were pretty dominant, I still don't think it was quite on the level that we saw in Japan, which is obviously in contrast to what we saw in Australia. So, as you say, if they can just get close to them in qualifying, put them on try a different strategy in the race that might confuse them a bit or give them something to worry about, that's a step in the right direction. It's not something we've got at the moment. So I hope Carlos Sainz is right.
We want them to be what Red Bull used to be to Mercedes.
Yeah, precisely.
I'd like them to be more what Ferrari were to Mercedes in 17.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But my point is that they just need to be the ones that are giving them a headache.
Yes. Yeah, precisely. Okay, final part of today's episode. This is a pretty remarkable moment we're about to have, because I'm going to ask Harry Eid if he can play the late faking jingle, but he's not going to have to guess where it is.
Because we've named it. It's
named.
Here we go.
This is the late faking game, where one answer is fake and the other ones are right. So help me Christ, I'll make my decision in a second. Sam, you're gonna have to wait, cause Ben made this game so hard, and I'm down by 5.
Okay, late faking. So there are 6 questions in front of me. Sam and Harry will take it in turns to pick a number, at which point I'll give them a question that has 4 answers, but one of them is a fake. One of them doesn't belong in that category, and it's up to the guys to determine which one it is. So, Sam, start us off.
I'll have number 5, please, Ben.
Number 5. It's a strong start. I'm going to give you 4 circuits. 3 of them are named after people. 1 isn't.
Come on, Canada.
It's not there, I'm afraid.
Oh.
Buenos Aires.
Right.
Imola. Istanbul. Estoril.
I'm going to say Buenos Aires.
It is not Buenos Aires, I'm afraid.
Man, those Argentinians.
Yes, those Argentinians being Oscar and Juan Galvez. Imola is named after Enzo and Ferrari. Estoril is named after Fernando Perez da Silva. Istanbul, not named after anyone. Not Mr. Istanbul.
I didn't know if the track had a longer name that you were not revealing.
No.
I'll take it.
Afraid not.
Mr. Bull.
Mr. Bull?
Hey, where do you think Red Bull got that name from?
Yes. It's Istan's cousin.
It's Stan and Red.
That's bad.
That's terrible.
That is awful. Okay, we're still at 0-0 as we go over to Harry for his first choice.
Number 2, please.
Number 2. I'm going to give you 4 drivers, 4 world champions to be more specific. 3 of them are the least guessed answers on Sporkle's Formula One World Champions quiz. Which one isn't?
Okay.
So you've got Mike Hawthorne, Alan Jones, Denny Hulme, and Jochen Rindt.
I know where I'm going with this.
Jochen Rindt?
It's not Jochen Rindt.
I'm going to go Hawthorne.
Yeah.
It's not. Alan Jones is the correct answer.
It's the easiest name
Put
to
some
remember.
respect on Alan Jones's name. Sporkle users.
Yeah,
They have
Sporkle.
put respect on his name.
Oh, I see.
Oh, he's the most remembered.
Yes. The other 3 are the bottom 3.
Ben is furious.
This always catches us out, Harry. We always get the
I'm
start
sorry.
of the question
That was the most complicated word question we've ever had on this show.
wrong. The fact that
come
we
on.
both got that wrong.
What did you? What you thought that? Oh, I. No idea.
The least of the 4 is what I thought.
Oh,
Denny Hulme was the least guessed answer. For just 47.4% guessing him. Then it was Hawthorne. Then it was Rindt, and Jones was like the 7th.
we were guessing the most.
You were supposed to guess like the most. Yes.
Oh, this is a painful day.
Oh well, no, we move on.
We move.
We move. We move at 0-0. Sam,
I'll have number 4, please, Ben.
number 4. Oh
He hasn't written it down well.
no, I haven't.
Get
A
that,
point for me.
get that handwriting book out, Ben.
I've got it. It's fine.
From our PO box, you can send us some things.
Nice.
4 countries. 3 of them have had at least 50 drivers in F1. Which
Crikey.
country hasn't? Italy,
Right.
Brazil,
Yeah.
UK,
Mm-hmm.
France.
50?
3 of them have had at least 50 drivers in the history of F1.
Cool, blimey, governor. How many drivers have we had?
I don't know. It might be around 700, possibly 700, 800.
Anyway, I'm going to say Brazil.
You're right to say Brazil. Just 31 drivers from Brazil.
Rookie numbers. Bump those numbers up.
Yeah, come on, Brazil. France 71, Italy 83, and the UK 146, which is only 3 short of the USA, which, given the Indy 500 used to be part of the F1 calendar, has helped USA a lot.
Oh, that conversion rate as well is not good for them.
No,
Races to wings.
but Brazil is the correct answer. So we're at 1-0 and back over to Harry.
Number 1.
Yeah, you're fine. 4 constructors, 3 of them have got at least 200 points in a season. One of them never has.
Okay.
So you've got Brawn,
Braun.
Aston Martin, Renault, and Lotus.
No.
The Lotus one, can I clarify? Which Lotus are we going for? The one that entered firstly as Lotus and then became Caterham, or Lotus Renault? Just Lotus.
The Lotus that was around in the early 2010s.
The green
They
one.
both were.
But they were, at one point they had Lotus Renault and Renault Lotus, which is
The
stupid.
one that Raikkonen and Grosjean raced for.
I understand. To get to
That was Lotus Renault.
yeah. Is it Braun?
It is Brawn. Well done.
Probably Braun.
They had 172 points in their one and only season. Renault only just got over 200 in 2006. Aston Martin and Lotus quite comfortably above the 200 mark.
New point system in it means less.
Yeah.
Precisely. 1-1, Sam. Do you want number 3 or 6?
3.
Three of these drivers have had a top 3 finish in GP2.
Oh.
Which one didn't? Sergei Sorokin, Scott Speed. He didn't get banned, so it's fine.
Nice.
Bruno Senna, and Marcus Ericsson.
I'm going to say Scott Speed.
You'd have thought so, but no, it's not. Sorokin, Scott Speed, and Senna all had top 3 finishes, but Marcus Ericsson, his best was just 6th.
Oh, come on, Marky Eck.
Now he's an Indy 500 winner.
Yeah, I think he's all right with that.
How does that happen?
Which means we've got to a point where if Harry gets this one right, he wins.
Yeah.
The big question is, can he remember
Number
what
6.
number
Come
is?
on, number 6.
Yes!
Come on. I've
This is
been
a good
listening.
Tension is unreal. We're at 1-1. And your question is this. I'm going to give you 4 drivers. 3 of them won a race before they turned 23 years old.
Oh, you've got this.
1 of them did not. Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, Fernando Alonso, and Lewis Hamilton.
You've got this, mate.
Is it Danny Rick?
Harry Eid. For 3. Drains it.
I don't know what that means.
Nice basketball reference there from Ben.
No idea why.
Drains it.
Keep going.
It went through the net, yes.
Did it go in?
For 3.
Drains it. Yeah. But did it go in?
Yeah, slightly confusing because that was actually for 2. But
What's the drain got to do with anything?
it's just a bad, you drain a shot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Daniel Ricciardo, when he first won a race, he was 24 and 11 months. Hamilton, 22 and 5 months. Alonso, 22 exactly. And then Leclerc, 21 and 10 months.
A good old quiz for a good old day.
Well done, Harry Eid.
Great stuff. What a quiz this is.
Indeed. You want to get us out of it, Sam?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for listening. If you'd like to listen more, because this is great content, then I assure you that Patreon is even better and very much worth your hard-earned cash. Please give it a try out. You can always leave. Discord is also in the description. Join that. And if you wanted to send us some stuff on PO Box, you can. The address will be down below. It's also on our link tree, which you can find over our social medias, which is Late Breaking F1. We had one brilliant delivery in a video that we've recorded, and I won't spoil it, but we'll be doing a little reel of it. It's gone so late breaking, it's ridiculous, but you'll find it, I'm sure. This has also been video recording, Late Breaking F1 on YouTube. I think that's everything. Thanks for listening. We'll be back midweek for the Chinese Grand Prix preview episode, where, of course, you can give us and get involved and give us all your bold predictions. Ben, is that what we're doing? Under pressures. Under pressures, isn't it?
Yes, well done.
Well done, me.
We'll give our bold predictions, though.
We will. Anyway, you'll find it out as you go. We'll see you then. In the meantime, I've been Samuel Sage.
I've been Ben Hocking.
And I've been Harry Eid.
And remember, keep breaking late.
Bye.